Hello everyone, I'm going to be speaking about captive breeding and private ownership and why they are both important. This is a tough subject because there are strong opinions on both sides of the fence. There are organizations out there that have made it their focus to halt private ownership of wildlife, as well as a growing field of private businesses that are focused around exotics and other local wildlife that generally aren't domesticated. I personally believe there should be regulations on both sides to protect the wildlife, but to also protect private ownership. Private ownership is important. It not only can help boost the population of endangered species and help regulate captive breeding by having available bloodlines that aren't related to each other to help create diversity in the bloodlines. There are more than a few species that more than 50% of their populations are actually in captivity, whether it be currently in breeding programs or just their ecosystems can no longer sustain them in the wild. This may sound like a negative statement. However, without private ownership and captive breeding programs, these species may no longer exist today. There are a few factors that can affect the population of wildlife, one being ecosystem destruction, whether it be natural, like fires or floods, or even human aspect, such as logging or deforestation for building new homes and communities. Disease can also run rampant in wildlife, causing local populations to drop to where they can't reproduce in a fast enough rate to survive. Another aspect is also hunting and poaching. This has a greater effect, especially in larger wildlife, when people hunt them just for fun, for sport, for trophies. These populations that have longer gestation time periods as well can't reproduce fast enough to keep up with how many are being killed off. Once the population of a species declines too much in the wild, it can then be very difficult for it to rebound, whether it be having difficulty to find a mate or not being able to survive against either predators and just people in general. I believe a captive breeding program would definitely help not only reintroduce the species back to a high enough population to breed again on its own in the wild, but it could definitely slow down the decline in the population and help save the species from potential extinction. It has been proven over the years that captive breeding does work. It has saved a few species. Some examples are the California condor, which was down to 35 known individuals and is now up over 350, maybe even higher today. The golden lion tamarin and the Galapagos tortoise have all seen a rebound due to captive breeding programs and private ownership. So I believe with captive breeding initiatives and private owners and proper legislation, both the wildlife and private ownership can be mutually beneficial. It gives a nice safe haven, you would say, to the species to rebound where they may not be able to do on their own. So with that being said, I would task you all to research some captive breeding programs and different types of private ownership and see how you feel they would be mutually beneficial, or seeing if you can look into local wildlife legislation to see if you can make a positive change, whether it be for the well-being of local wildlife or the better regulations and for the welfare of the animals in private ownership. Every state and federal law differs significantly, so what may be illegal in, say, South Carolina could be illegal in Georgia, so it's important if you're going to be active and make a positive change to at least learn what is already in place, because getting to the root cause is probably the most important thing to making positive change. So with that said, thank you for taking the time to watch my video.